Welcome to the Adoption Show. I'm Amber Aquart and I love rescue dogs. And guess what? This show is going to show you guys so many dogs that need homes. So stay tuned to see if your furry friend is right waiting for you.
Decompression. Decompression is the process by which a newly adopted dog adjusts to their new home. It's important to give them a quiet, safe space and a little time to acclimate. The first 3 days, 3 weeks, and 3 months are key to a smooth transition and a lifetime of love.
Coming up next, we're going to meet the people and the rescues who help these dogs get adopted. I'm Amber Aquart, and today we're here at Bobbi and the Strays, a nonprofit and no-kill animal rescue that's also committed to public education about adopting some animals. We're gonna talk to Ron here, and he's the manager of this facility, so let's check it out. Hi, Ron. Thank you so much for meeting with me.
Pleasure being here, meeting you.
Yeah, I'm so excited to learn more about Bobbi and the Strays. Can you tell me where the name comes from or how that happened?
Absolutely. Bobbi is named after Bobbi Giordano, who's the owner of the shelter.
Okay.
And she owns 2 shelters here in Atlas Park for 25 plus years, if not more. And then one in Freeport, Long Island. She actually started at JFK Airport, where she started adopting dogs out there and moved to here and then to Freeport, Long Island. And her whole mission, her whole focus is to make sure that all of our pets, dogs and cats, find a forever home. A home where they will last their entire life with a happy family, loving them, giving them all the TLC they need.
I love that. That's what the adoption show is all about, and that's why we're talking with you guys, because I think that you guys do things that really help pets stay in their homes forever, not just kind of get passed around. So I know you have a different adoption process. So can you explain to us what someone would be doing if they were applying to adopt and how you make sure those pets do stay in the home forever?
Sure. We have a website, and people go on the website and look at our dogs on the website. Then we have a biography about the dogs, what they're all about, their demeanor, personality, age, everything there. And then they fill out an application. And I review the application when it comes in. And if I feel it's a good application based on what they wrote, then I'll call them and have them come in to meet the dog. And we'll do a one-on-one meet and greet with the dog. And at the same time when they're here, they could look at some of our other dogs, because the one they put down may not be the best match for them. Once that happens, then I process the application by calling references. I call a landlord to make sure that a pet is allowed in the building, if it's a building. If it's a home, I want to make sure that I do home checks to make sure like a backyard is totally secure, that a dog in the backyard playing off leash could not escape, could not run around, very important. We look inside the home as well to make sure that there are no, for example, wires all over the place that dogs could chew upon. So we want to make sure it's a safe and protected environment for the home. Once that happens, then the client will come back and we'll finish the adoption process. There is an adoption fee that's paid for the dog, and then the dog goes to their forever home.
That's amazing. I think the fact that you guys take those extra steps to make sure that everything is set up appropriately for the pet is going to help that pet stay in the home forever. Do you guys find ways to help educate the public on like what is needed if they want to adopt a dog? Or I know you guys have some community outreach programs, and I'd love to hear more about that.
We do. One of the largest ways we do is, as I did today, we work in schools. So we begin with even children, with kids, going into schools with our dogs and educating the students in even grade school, middle school, why are dogs in shelters? How do they get here? How do they move from here to your own home? Mommy and Daddy want to come and adopt, and then
or the kid wants to adopt.
So we do a lot of that.
I think it's really cool that you guys not only focus on finding pets forever homes, but you also focus on bringing those pets out into the public. Not only is that good for them to get, awareness that they're up for adoption, but it helps teach kids and other people what it's like to adopt a pet. Do you guys provide additional support to help them stay in the home?
Absolutely. Number one, when they come for the adoption and pick up the dog or cat, they get an adoption bag with all the necessary equipment and food and toys. That is good for the first week or so with the dog. They may not know. There are many first-time adopters for both dogs and cats, and they may not know, what to do. Where does the dog sleep? What kind of food should the dog eat based on what we do here. So we provide a lot of that information.
You're setting them up for success.
Right. We give them a folder with all the dog or cat's medical information. So all of our dogs here have been all vaccinated fully, rabies, DA2PP, everything. They are all microchipped. Every dog is spay or neutered as well.
They're already ready to go.
Right, they just pack their bag.
That's great.
Pack bag and
That's
go.
Great.
So the client really doesn't have any worries except just to keep up with the medical forms that I have when the next shots are due, booster shots are due. And if they find, and it happens, if they find that there is an issue with the dog, for example, someone would call and say, the skin on my, I see something wrong with this, okay? And if I'm close by, I'll run over.
Wow.
Because many of the adoptions happen within the area.
Right,
I'm
you're
doing the
already
home
invested
checks.
in the dog,
Right.
and so you're doing the best
so
you can to keep
we'd
them
do that,
there.
or we would advise them to call one of our vet techs or to call a trainer that we have out in Freeport. So we'll try to provide as much information and resource to them as possible.
That's great. You guys,
they become part of our family once they take one of our dogs.
Absolutely. So one thing I wanted to bring up is I think that the curb appeal, like what you guys have done to help bring awareness to animals that not only need homes, but that have successfully been in homes, like looking at these happy, like the happy smile with the dogs and the cats, it really makes you see yourself, you know, in that position, and I think it brings extra awareness to the animals. I just got chills because it's just imagining like dog is smiling, the kid is smiling, and it's really crazy that you guys are doing not only so much to help, you know, rehome these animals, but you are providing support and you're providing education, and the fact that you guys have made it like an accessible thing for people. If they're interested, maybe your windows you have here in the location will pique the interest of people wanting to adopt.
That's what we
animals.
hope it'll do, and boost our, boost our adoption.
Yeah, that was the first thing I said when I came up here. I was like, wow, this is the coolest like little setup here, and I think it's really cool. You guys are doing so much to help animals, and I just really appreciate you taking the time to tell me more about Bobbi and the Strays and talking with me today. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Very happy to be here.
Gosh, it was so great getting to meet Ron and find out more about Bobbi and the Strays and see how they're not only helping dogs get adopted, but they're helping them stay in their forever homes. And I love that about their mission, because that's what the adoption show is all about. I'm here with Miranda Hitchcock, the co-founder of Every Dog Behavior and Training in Austin, Texas. Now, I know that you guys specialize in behavior and training, so many things we can talk about, but this is the adoption show. And so how would you suggest a person who's thinking about adopting a dog, what are the first things you would suggest to them to do before potentially they adopt a dog?
Most important thing for folks to do is really think about what kind of dog they're looking for, right? Not the breed, but what life do they want to have? And also think about what kinds of needs they have for their dog, whether they're looking for a service dog or an emotional support dog, whether they're going to be living in an apartment, maybe they're moving a lot. All these things are going to tell you what kinds of behaviors you need for your dog to be able to tolerate and live with. So I think the most important thing is, instead of people think, I want a small dog, or I want a white dog, or all the way it looks, it's thinking about what life do I want to have with my dog? Do I want to be able to go out to a patio restaurant somewhere? What are the things that are important to me? And that way you can find a dog who ideally can fit into at least some parts of that life with you.
So what do you suggest for people that maybe brought a dog home, they're either in the honeymoon phase or they're realizing really quickly that that phase is over? Like, what's the next step for these people?
So sometimes it's a matter of just making sure you get some things set up and taking it really slow. So generally we recommend, if you've just adopted this dog, give it a few days before you start taking them to a rave.
Or having your whole family over.
Exactly. Anything we can do to set them up for success, get to know kind of who they are. In some cases, you might be adopting from a foster home where you might have great information about them. And sometimes they might have been in a shelter where we have no idea how they're going to respond to things like stares. Watching our dog's body language, watching what they're telling us in those first few days especially, so that we can figure out how to set everyone in the home up for success.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And every dog is such an individual, right? And so if we're seeing dogs do things in our house that are new to our house, what do these people do that just brought this dog into their home? Can you kind of give us some takeaway tips that people can maybe try with their dog or reach out to help?
If you have a dog who comes home and is what I call like a corner dog, like they're stuck in the corner and they don't want to leave it, they don't feel safe, and that's happening for a couple of days, please reach out to somebody, right? There are medical interventions and training interventions that we can use to help those dogs feel more safe. And most of these dogs, if it's been a couple of days and they're feeling like that, it's not just going to get better on its own. Same thing, anytime we get snarling, snapping, growling, anything like that is something that we immediately want to get an expert in there to make sure we're not going to make things worse. It's really easy to end up with accidental dog bites just from a misunderstanding between the dog and the person. So the more that we can go, okay, we figured out what happened, we know how to avoid it, we can build some new communication, we can make sure that everyone stays safe. It's really important to do that. So those are the things where we get lots of anxiety, fear, any kind of aggression symptoms, reactivity symptoms. We want to get in there as quickly as possible with a certified positive reinforcement-based trainer so that we know that we can actually solve those problems for folks.
Yeah, 100%. And on that note, I think it's so important for people to realize, like, dogs they speak a different language than us, and sometimes we expect them to understand our language, but we don't fully know their language yet. And just because a dog may be showing something that is a little bit concerning to us doesn't mean that the dog can't stay in your home. How can people, I guess, learn more? Do you have any resources people can take away from this?
Our website, everydogaustin.org, I love because we're a nonprofit and we're doing cool things. But my other favorite thing is that we have a lot of free resources on it. So we do free webinars, usually twice a month, and we have a whole YouTube channel of all of our previous webinars, everything from raising puppies to dealing with trauma to sound sensitivities, just everything behavior related from trainers and behavior consultants all over the world. We want to make sure people can find what they need.
I love that so much. And if you guys don't have a dog yet, you can still reach out and learn these things before you get a dog.
Absolutely.
And that'll just help you have a better relationship. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. This was so fun. Next up, even more adoptable dogs. Stay tuned.
Camille's adoption tips. Here's a tip.
Make sure you have everything ready when you bring your dog home. This includes food, bowls, beds, and pieces of equipment. Your dog might not have ever worn a collar before or a harness. If you have a small dog, make sure that you walk that dog on a harness. If you have a larger dog, make sure that your dog acclimates to the collar and the different equipment that you're going to use before you take him out.
Adopt a dog through the adoption show and receive an exclusive welcome kit. When you open your heart and home to a rescue dog through the adoption show, you'll receive an incredible adoption package designed to support you and your new furry friend. Buy Series 3, Smart Dog Collar. Stay connected with your pet through real-time GPS tracking, activity monitoring, and health insights. This top-rated collar ensures your dog's safety and well-being. And a 1-year subscription to DOGTV. Provide your dog with engaging, scientifically designed content to keep them relaxed and entertained when you're away. This exceptional package is our way of saying thank you for choosing to adopt and making a difference in a dog's life.
We are so glad you spent time with us and all of these dogs. If any of these dogs felt like family, reach out to the shelter to see if your forever friend is waiting for you. I'm here with veterinarian Dr. Courtney Campbell, and we're gonna ask him the top adoption questions. So, how can potential adopters prepare their home for a new pet?
It's all about safety, security, and serenity. You want to create a spot for them to feel safe when they're at home, but you also want to secure those loose wires, those keys, those things around the house, those items around the house that can be ingested and potentially dangerous. So you want to make sure you pet-proof your house, make sure it's safe, make sure it's serene, and most importantly, make sure that you feel at home with your new family member.
I love that.
Hi, new pet parent. I'm Dr. Renee Schmid with Pet Poison Helpline, and I'm here to give you an essential tip to help with your new pet. Now, safeguard human medications because human medications are a leading cause of pet poisonings. Always keep your prescriptions and over-the-counter drugs out of your dog's reach. Utilize those child-proof containers and store them in a high cabinet, and never administer human medication to your pet without veterinary guidance, as even seemingly harmless drugs can be toxic to pets.
We are so happy that you joined us today, and I know these dogs are so happy to have any attention brought to them. So if you want to help out, reach out to your local rescue and see how you can help get these dogs adopted. Next week, we'll have even more dogs waiting for their forever homes, so be sure to stay tuned.